FraudKuna crying for Mahoraga. Nah, I'd win. You are my special, Halfjo, Femboy Farmer memes, Yuta In Africa. There are so many memes in Lobotomy Kaisen, and it goes deep. The rabbit hole goes incredibly deep. But today we'll be breaking down every single meme that Lobotomy Kaisen had that you may have missed, and maybe you just need a refresher on it, or maybe you just want to talk about it. There are some really funny ones out here, especially the FraudKuna ones, my personal favorite, that went rampant years ago throughout the community. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, the Lobotomy Kaisen memes in JJK. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out so much, and of course subscribe for a ton of Jujutsu Kaisen content. If you love JJK, you won't regret subscribing. But without further ado, let's just start. So the first thing we're going to start with is the FraudKuna memes right here. So as you can see on the screen, I'll just have the memes up as I talk about it. You can just see them go through. So of course we have so many where Sukuna's crying for Mahoraga-chan, save me, or save me 10 shadows, Gojo is too strong, I'm a fraud, and just plenty of memes with Sukuna crying for his father and mother Agito and Mahoraga, relying on the 10 shadows of him being a fraud, and of course him having the notorious clown costume on him all of the time, where he's just basically a fraud. So where did this meme come from? This all came from the fact that Sukuna needed the 10 shadows. That in and of itself is a very contentious statement. Some people are saying, you know, he never needed the 10 shadows, he could have beat him if he just used the true form. It is heavily debated upon on if he could or couldn't, but this isn't a power scaling video, so I won't talk about that now. This is more so the fact that he ended up using the 10 shadows. So of course, I was someone who said when this fight originally started that yes, Sukuna is definitely going to win, but if he uses the 10 shadows, he's going to be a fraud. So I was very involved in the community. A lot of the memes that you probably saw as this was happening week to week, I made a lot of them actually, surprisingly, like even some of those popular ones, which you may not even know. I just posted them on Twitter, and every day during this point I was posting these agenda posts. It was a very fun time in the community, and looking back on it, it was very missed. It was very enjoyable. I'm sure if you were active in the community at the time, you know what I'm talking about. But that is pretty much where these memes came from, where you can see always it's Sukuna relying on the 10 shadows, or he needs the 10 shadows to beat Gojo, and so often he has Mahoraga-chan save me, because there's that funny moment where he gets knocked out, or at the very least some people say that maybe it was just a daze, right, where the agenda goes that far, and as Sukuna is losing consciousness, Mahoraga comes and save him, and then of course that happens once again when he gets hit by the infinite void. And that is where the FraudKuna memes come from, the fact that he needed the 10 shadows to win. Next we have the Nah, I'd win, one of the most popular memes out there, and this originally wasn't a meme. When we first saw this, Nah, I'd win, it wasn't a meme, it was just a cool moment, but then it became a meme because Gojo was like, nah, I'd win, and then of course he ends up becoming Halfjo, which is another meme I'll talk about, and that is pretty much where the joke comes from. It's the Halfjo memes. It's the fact that he said he was gonna win and he didn't. So this meme has so many variations where originally it was just Gojo and, you know, just messing about with the original image, like some he's bold, some it's the text, and then it became Jogo and other characters like Kenjaku or Yuta. But this actually went so far and above the Jujutsu Kaisen community that this became a meme everywhere. Like even people who didn't know what JJK was, or people who didn't watch anime and manga, they used it for their own series. Just so many you'll see on the screen as I talk about this meme. And that's sort of the beauty of this meme, where someone's like, yeah, I'd win, and they end up losing. And it is a shame because in the actual Japanese translations, and I know this because I'm very deep in the JJK community, I mean, I'm a Jujutsu Kaisen YouTuber, the way Gojo actually said it is he didn't say it with certainty, but he says it in a phrase in Japanese that is only 50% certain that he'd win, where it's like not 100% sure that he'd win. But of course, because it wasn't translated that well into English, and especially not by the Viz, the Nah, I'd win comes from the Viz, though to be fair, even the TCB didn't do the best job with it. It just translates straight that like, oh yeah, I'm certain I'm gonna win, which is ironic because he gets cooked. And so it just goes throughout all of these villains of people saying Nah, I'd win, like the Finger Bearer, or Jogoat, which is another meme, or like King Crimson, right? Just any character you can name, like Goku or something, or just take out anime and manga. It went into like Heisenberg and all of these strange shows, but yeah, it just became a big meme, and it was pretty funny, honestly. And that does tie into our next meme, Jogoat, which was originally, I don't know if it was originally actually started with Nah, I'd win, but it became a meme where Jogo was actually the secret strongest character in all of JJK, and this is pretty funny because Jogo was tossed around so badly. He just lost to everyone. He got absolutely embarrassed by everyone he fought, which is not really his fault considering the guys that he fought was Sukuna at 15 fingers and Satoru Gojo, so you can't blame him. it's not like he's weak, he just ended up fighting the strongest characters in all of history. But these memes are very funny, so as you can see, there's versions of him being Gojo, there's versions of him just looking cool, we got the Now I'd Win versions, there's even versions where he's telling Sukuna, stand strong, you're proud, there's versions of him that are looking jacked up from Alan the Alien in Invincible. It's a pretty funny meme, and of course, the irony comes with Jogo isn't actually that strong, right? And next, we have the infamous Potential Man meme. This is yet another meme, just like Now I'd Win, that transcended past the JJK community and went straight into other fandoms. So I'll share it on the screen. You can see there's Star Wars versions, Naruto versions, Dragon Ball Z versions, One Piece versions, and even transcending into other pieces of media that aren't anime and manga related. The original meme started with Megami, and it's pretty sad because it ended up being true, where I'll have the original meme up now, I hope I do, where it is meet Potential Man, 0 feats, 0 relevance, 7 kamikaze attempts, which is him summoning Mahoraga. And it is true where he has the potential to rival Gojo, you know, complete a domain will be crazy, he'll hit black flashes eventually, and none of it ended up happening. This is the saddest part. This meme was made before JJK was ended, and in the end, the meme ended up being true. Like, Megami has the potential to hit black flash, his domain has the potential to be the best, he has the potential to rival Gojo, he had the potential to come back, and none of it ended up happening. Like, he didn't come back in the Sukuna fight, he did come back briefly and just took his leg under the shadow, but it was nothing like we expected, where he was gonna fight Sukuna inside of his new domain and bring out his own Mahoraga. And even in the end, he never used this technique to the fullest. It was Sukuna who did, and the meme being if and when but never is, which is true. Unfortunately, it is true. He ended up being that potential man, but that meme translated into various other characters like Dragon from One Piece, where always hyped up but never does anything, or Rock Lee, who had the best potential but never ended up doing anything. And you could just see it, like I'll show on the screen, every character, pretty much every character that has potential and is always hyped up to have potential but never goes there. I mean, this even goes into the newer JJK Modulo content, where now Tsurugi has potential man meme. And then of course we have the You Are My Special memes. Unfortunately, I can't play this outright because I'll just get copyrighted, and of course the video will be taken down. But to explain this meme, and I'll go over briefly since it's hard to show any visuals for this, when JJK Season 2 is happening with Sukuna going crazy in Shibuya, and then Yuji took back his body and he was crying, you know, over everything that happened and all of the destruction that Sukuna caused because Yuji had lost to Choso and then taken over his body. During that traumatic moment, that very sad moment, we had the opening playing with it being very strange, you know, the whole You Are My Special, you know, like very upbeat, happy music, cool music, as Yuji's having the breakdown of his life in tears, suicidal and wanting to kill himself. Like, it's very strange. Personally, I liked it. I actually think it fit very well. I can see what the director of the episode was going for, where it was really just mocking Yuji, like in the same way that Sukuna was just mocking Yuji with everything he did, and Sukuna always does. It was the same here with Yuji, that yeah, all of this stuff happens, but you just gotta pick yourself up and go, I actually thought it was good. I can really see why it looks funny and stupid. I can really, especially when you're first watching it, because when this happened in the anime, it went viral online because it just took people back. And even myself, I was taken aback, my god, as I was watching this moment in the anime. I've read the manga, you know, I've been reading weekly since chapter 1, so it wasn't a shock for me. Just suddenly, as Yuji like wants to die and is crying tears and like actually wants to kill himself, suddenly we just hear You Are My Special. It does take you back, and that became a meme where we saw that translated into so many memes where like someone's having a mental breakdown and people would just play You Are My Special, like for all these animes, like when Eren had a breakdown, just name any anime character, it had You Are My Special there. And unfortunately, I can't show this one, I'll get copyright, but I can show the next memes, such as the Halfjo memes. And these memes came from the fact that Gojo got cut in half, and there's so many versions of them. And of course we have the Among Us versions, which Among Us isn't as popular as it is today as it was back in the day, but it used to be pretty popular. We have the Kit Kat version where he's broken in half, and after Gojo did die, this was a way that people mocked it, where people would show things that were cut cleanly in two or just cut in two, like a Kit Kat or something, or the Among Us character, and they'd be like, oh wait, that's Gojo, because of the way Gojo was done. So often people called him Halfjo. And the next meme is unfortunate, and this meme, interestingly enough, like actually evolved over time. This wasn't something that just happened immediately, but long after Kashimo was defeated, that's when this meme started coming. So first we have the farmer meme, and this will go into another Kashimo meme next, where Kashimo was hyped up, and rightfully so, as being the strongest of his era, where he actually lost to no one. He never used his technique, he lost to not a single person, and even, unfortunately for him, lived until a very old age and died of sickness because no one was strong enough to kill him. But then of course when he fought some real sorcerers such as Yuta or Sukuna, he just gets instantly no-diffed and killed. So people are saying that Kashimo is from the era of farmers, where this goes actually into another meme from a completely different community, the NBA community. People say, oh yeah, Jordan is the greatest of all time, but then LeBron fans, they say the only reason Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time is because the people in his era weren't actually as good. Michael Jordan was playing against, plumbers and electricians and all of these random guys with part-time jobs, whereas LeBron is playing against the greatest athletes of all time. So people use that to downplay the era of Michael Jordan. And this ties into the farmers meme, because that meme of the NBA was taken into the JJK community, and instead of it just being electricians and plumbers, they say it's farmers. I don't actually know why it was specifically chosen as farmers. I guess because that was the only sort of field that could have existed back then, where Kashimo was hunting farmers. As you can see on the screen, there's so many versions of this where he's hunting Mahito, and there's even the one where Gojo comes back when he's fighting Toji and it's like farmers again. There's so many memes like that, and that's pretty much it, where Kashimo was hyped up as being so strong, but he's actually from a farmer's era, and that's the only reason he was strong. If he was in this era, he wouldn't have been. I don't agree with that personally, but hey, I'm just explaining the memes. I love Kashimo, man. I think he was done today. And that goes into the femboy memes, where Kashimo was a femboy farmer. I don't know words to describe this. I don't even want to talk about this. I mean, I can't even show a lot of the memes here because they're just not even safe for work. I think I get demonetized if I show them. There's also the waffled one memes because he dies like a waffle pattern. If you see the way that Sukuna froze the world cutting slash, people say he became a waffle. So there's many memes about Kashimo, unfortunately, and I'm not even gonna get into the fanboy ones. If you know, you know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next, we have the Yuta in Africa memes. So this was during the time when Yuta was just missing from the community. Nobody knew where he was, where Yuta was just completely MIA and Shibuya was happening, and I was reading Weekly at the time and everyone was like, where is Yuta? So then memes came that Yuta was simply just in Africa because of the way that JJK 0 ended originally, where Yuta goes in Africa to train with Miguel. And it was later said that yeah, this whole time Yuta was in Africa searching for the cursed tool, but he ended up finding nothing, right? And because of that, the meme spawned where, where everyone's dying in Shibuya, when everyone's suffering, you just see Yuta dancing in Africa. And there's a lot of funny memes that came from it. It didn't last that long, but because of course eventually Yuta did come back, but while he was gone, that's really where these memes came from. And it spawned other memes about this character being in Africa and that character being there, where they're just relaxing while everyone else is dying. We also have the Hakari is a fraud agenda, where Hakari is only hyped up by statements and he has no real feats, right? And this one's unfortunate because the one character that Hakari beat who I think is strong is Kashimo, and I think that proves that Hakari is strong. But then when Kashimo got hit with the fanboy farmer memes, that affected Hakari's reputation. And then of course there were memes that, oh, Hakari's never gonna fight Sukuna, he's a fraud, he was running away from Sukuna the whole time by just stalling with Uraume. And it was a funny meme at the time. It just unfortunately became true, where he ended up never actually fighting Sukuna, and he didn't even beat Uraume in the end. It was just a draw. So it's very unfortunate, and this meme, it's one of those ones, just like the Potential Man memes with Megami, where people made fun of it because, oh yeah, like Megami's got all this potential, we'll eventually see him, but he's just Potential Man. People didn't actually think it was gonna come true, but it came true. And the same thing happened with Hakari, where, we all mocked Hakari, and I was on that train. I was memeing the living crap out of Hakari, saying, yeah, he's just stalling with Uraume, or he's all statements and he has no real feats. But like in the end, it actually happened. It actually became true, and it's just kind of sad when it actually became reality, And then of course we have various Lobotomy Kaisen memes that just spawn from JJK being crazy. Like I'll show a couple on the screen. They don't even have anything specific, right? Just absolutely crazy JJK memes, and this was a very fun period in the fanbase, the Lobotomy Kaisen era. Only if you were actually in the fanbase at the time do you realize how hype it was, how nice it was to be in the community. There was a lot of negative connotations with the whole FraudKuna memes and all these things. People said it was killing the fandom, but that was one of the most fun we had in the fan. But hey, let me know which one of these Lobotomy Kaisen memes are your favorites. Let me know in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. It helps out so much. Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality JJK content on this channel. But thank you so much for watching. That's all, and have a great day, guys. Take care.